Welcome back. I'm Dr. Kathryn, Messaging Guru Kathryn, founder at Geode Blockchain and guide for your journey here on this place we call Earth. And today I want to talk about 3 kinds of jobs that exist in the Web3 world that do not exist and had not existed before. And I want to talk about this because this may lead not only how you work, but how you build wealth in the coming decade. And I know a lot of people that look and they see AI coming up these days and they see automation and they go, oh my gosh, we're all going to be out of work. No, you're not. For every new technology that comes along, there are new jobs and new ways of earning income that come along with it. And I want to talk to you about 3 of those that you're going to find in the Web3, blockchain, and crypto world. And these are just 3. So if I don't cover your favorite one here today, put it down in the comments and let's spread the word. So we're going to talk about all 3 today. And the first one that I want to talk about, you really want to stick around because number 3 is really something. The first one is building. And so blockchain and crypto bring about new jobs and new ways of earning income that did not exist before. And the first one we're going to talk about is building something. Now, I don't care if you don't know how to code. That doesn't really matter much anymore, frankly, thanks to AI coding. So building, all you have to be is someone with a good idea who's willing to have a very, intricate discussion with an AI who's going to then build the code. Now, if you can code, then these AI coders are an absolute rocket engine for you. These are going to 1,000x your productivity in the coming years. Even right now, about 10x to 100x a good coder. So building something. Coding smart contracts. Smart contracts did not exist prior to 2015. It's a new thing that came about that can run on blockchain. You don't see them in centralized systems. It is decentralized specifically. It's a piece of software that can do, well, anything you want it to do. But the amazing thing about decentralized applications, which is another word for smart contracts and the front end interfaces that go with them, is that you can take the middleman out of everything. So for example, in Geode, all of the apps that we have are running on smart contracts. The marketplace, social, private messaging, life and work, which is our LinkedIn killer, where you can put in your resume, you can register intellectual property, and these are all running decentralized, which means no middleman taking a cut of the profit. You can make money directly by looking at ads on social. You can charge people directly to email your inbox. It's great. So coding smart contracts and coding decentralized and Web3 apps is very formulaic. So it is really, really ripe for automated coding. And coding something using an AI is it's super cheap already, and it's getting easier every single day. So if you have an idea for an app that you wish existed, Web3 is somewhere where you can build that app and monetize it, again, directly profiting off of your own time and attention and productivity and brilliant idea. And you can do that in Web3. You can't do that in Web2, not to this extent, not in this way, in terms of monetization and everything. So building, and just because you can't code doesn't mean you can't build anymore. So that's the first one. The second one I want to talk about is staking. Staking is unique to Web3. So what is staking? Staking is where you have some coin and you say to yourself, I really wish that this coin would go to work and make me more coin. And sort of like if you go to a bank with regular currency and you get a certificate of deposit and you say, I will put this money in the certificate of deposit and I will lock it up for 6 months and you will give me a higher interest rate. Similar idea, except you actually have to kind of work for it. And you can make a lot more with it. So with staking, I'm going to go over the first 2 major types of staking. We're going to talk about being a validator node and talk about being a nominator. Validator nodes offer up a machine to run that blockchain's code. And so you offer it up. Now, you yourself are not running the code. It's all automated, but you maintain the machine and you make sure it's up and running 24/7. That's the job. And for that job, every time your machine, your node, is the one who was chosen to make the block, you get the brand new coin that was minted in that moment. Because new coin is being minted all the time. Well, who gets that? The validator nodes get that. And the nominators, if your system has nominators. So running a validator node, offering up this machine and saying, okay, I'm going to have a dedicated machine. It's going to sit in the corner of my kitchen. It's going to run that software. And I'm going to keep it up and running 24/7. That's my job, is to keep that computer and that software up and running. That's it. And you will sit there and earn coin every single day for doing that. Now, it takes a chunk of coin to get started in that job. You have to have a minimum stake of coin that you're going to lock up on that machine in those accounts. And that's your stake. Because if you're going to be a nefarious actor or try to mess with the system, then the system's going to take your stake, right? So your stake is ensuring that you're going to be a good noodle and not try to hack the system as you're sitting there running this machine on behalf of the system. And so all kinds of blockchains, if they are proof of stake, you can earn this way. You know, Ethereum used to be proof of work. Now it's proof of stake. So you can do this on Ethereum, Solana, assumedly Cardano. You can do this on Geode. You can do this on Polkadot, A-Star, any of the Polkadot parachains. There's lots of chains out there to do it. Some are more expensive. You need a larger stake in order to run a node. And some are less expensive. You need a lot less of a stake of coin to run a node. But then that node just sits there and earns coin continuously every single day. And the bigger your stake, the more you earn. And it's often quoted in percentages like an APY, except you're working for it. So for example, on Geode, you can earn 10% to 15% depending on how many other people have how much staked. There's an automated algorithm for that, so it's fair. It's completely automated. And the fewer people that are staking, the more coin you get. The more people that are doing the job, it comes down a little bit, but we like to keep it floating around 10%. So you can get 10, and then if you restake that, 12, 13% APY, or in other words, earning not really APY, but you're working for it. It's a job, and you would report that as such on your taxation. But you're earning coin. So if you restake, then you're up around the 12 or 13%. So staking is an entire job by itself that did not used to exist prior to Web3. Brand new job, and a really interesting wealth building tool, because you start with a group of coin, a certain amount of coin, and you stake it, and then you keep that machine up and running as a validator node, and you're earning based on how much you put in for doing this job. Really interesting, isn't it? So the old rule for wealth building was to build enough wealth that you could live off of 4% of that wealth per year. Are you familiar with that, the 4% rule? So normally people would say, well, how much do I need to retire? Well, I need enough net worth that I can live off of 4% of it per year. That was the old rule of thumb. But in a Web3 world, if you're staking on a validator or nominator and you're earning that 10 to 13%, let's just say 10% for a nice round number, the net worth in that coin stake that you need to retire is however much you need to live off of 10%, because it's sitting there producing an income of 10% every year for doing that job. Wow. And that significantly brings down the amount of net worth you need in that coin to retire and just do that job of being a validator node. So what's a nominator? The other type of staking is being a nominator. Nominators do not exist on every chain. Ethereum does not have nominators. All of the Polkadot, so Polkadot and Polkadot parachains typically have nominators, not 100%, but check. Geode has nominators. Nominators are another type of node, except that you don't need any special equipment. All you need is a web browser. I mean, you can do it on your phone. And the nominators have a job too, and they're earning that, 10% as well on their stake for doing a different job. The job of the nominator is to keep an eye on all those validator nodes. And you're staking your coin on, you're voting for, in Geode's case, you're picking out 16 of those validator nodes that you think do the best job. They're always up and running, right? They've got they've got good solid equipment. You know them, you've talked to them. It's a wonderful layer of security. It's called nominated proof of stake. We have validator nodes and then you have nominators, except nominators don't need any special technical skill. Anybody can do it. You can do it on your phone. But it's keeping an eye on those validators. Who's doing a good job? And what that does is it helps you root out the ones that are not doing a good job pretty quickly, and they don't really get allowed back into the voting set of who's making coin. So you want to do a good job if you're a validator node, because the nominators are watching you and voting for you, and they affect whether or not you get into the voting set to make coin. These jobs did not exist prior to Web3. How incredible is this? And the third type of job that I want to talk about, the way of earning income in the Web3 world, is tokenization. And no, I'm not going to talk about speculation. We're not going to talk about that. You can go and find lots of people talking about speculation. I want to talk about like real jobs, like real things you can do to earn money, not just speculating. Tokenization we have not even really come into its own in tokenization in Web3 yet, but it will. Keep an eye on this. What we are starting to see is the tokenization of things like stocks, artwork, real world assets, or RWA, you'll see it, where then you create a non-fungible token, an NFT, or a fungible token, also known as a coin or token, to represent that real world thing. I have seen wine bottles, wine collections be tokenized so that the wine doesn't actually move from the seller, but this person owns it, and the NFT is their proof that they own it, and they sell that NFT to someone else, and now that person owns the bottle has not moved. You could tokenize commodities that are being transported on trains around the world or on ships. You could tokenize all of the shipping containers at the shipping ports. Who owns it? What's in it? And when you tokenize these real world assets like real estate, how about your house? Your house could become an NFT on chain. Well, why do I care about that? You care about that because when you tokenize a real world asset, and you own the NFT, selling that house, selling that commodity, moving that thing around the world now becomes that quick. It becomes right now, right? Think about the way that we sell houses today. It's a long and arduous process. It has lots of people involved, all of which are taking a piece of your money. It is so much paperwork. It takes so long. And when you move all that on chain with tokenization, right? You tokenize the house, the contract, the deed. You can move a house in 24 hours. Speed of action through tokenization is going to be a methodology of income. So if you can come into the Web3 world from whatever industry you were in and apply tokenization to that industry because you know about that industry. If you came from shipping, tokenize shipping containers and ships. Allow revenue sharing amongst people who own those tokenized assets. If you came from the medical world, how about tokenization of data, machinery, right? MRI machines, CAT scan machines, hospitals itself. Allow everyday people to have a piece of ownership in something that they wouldn't normally get to have ownership in, and allow them to then share in the revenue from that thing. Tokenization. And that didn't exist. That doesn't exist outside of Web3. So those are 3 kinds of jobs and ways to earn income in the Web3 world that do not exist outside of Web3. Building something new in terms of smart contracts and decentralized apps, staking as a validator node or a nominator, and tokenization of real world assets. This is why do you think I'm excited? This is why I'm excited about Web3 and what it's going to do for humanity. So get on in here. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on chain.